get a head start. My name is Trevor Misfeldt. I'm CEO of CenterSpace Software. We make math and stats libraries for the .NET platform. I'm not here to talk about that though. I'm here to talk about coding style. This won't mean anything to you if you're not a programmer. I apologize, but hey, it's only 5 minutes. It may or may not make any sense if you are a programmer. I've written 3 books on programming, co-authored 3 books, C++, Java, and C#, and they're basically a set of rules and guidelines for writing efficient and maintainable code. So programmers learn a lot about syntax, how to get things to work. They learn in college, they learn it on the job. I would argue that just important is style, because code is going to end up living a long time, longer than you might expect, and many people are going to end up looking at that code. And over a lifetime, people need to make changes. General principles: if you have a style guideline in place where you work, you should follow it. Everyone can't be creating their own. Do the least astonishing thing. So write code that you would people would read it and expect what it does. Use verbs, use words. Make your code read like English, so don't be afraid to add that. Use verbs for methods, use nouns for objects. So don't call your variables like customer list, customer array, call them customers. It frees you from the underlying data type and gives you more flexibility. Have a case naming strategy within your company so that you can look at a name and know what kind of type it is. No hard tabs. These are evil. Use tabs that are tied to 2, 3, 4 spaces. Liberally use white space indentation so that you can look at code and it's clear. Use C# regions so you can enable and disable code. You should be able to use a subclass wherever you use a parent class. Your code in general should be open for modification, open for extension, but closed for modification. I know this is very fast, but I'm trying to jam in a whole bunch of rules here. Make your code simple when possible. Everyone knows the programmers that add a bunch of interfaces and stuff. Make sure that you actually need that, because there's a price to be paid every time you add that. Same for threading and synchronization. Reuse objects wherever possible. Operators should be natural. People start sprinkling operators just because they have them in languages now. But operator plus for concatenation of strings. That makes sense. You're putting 2 strings together. Be wary of implicit conversion, where you can automatically convert one type to another. Exceptions are not for control flow. So catch only those exceptions that you can handle, deal with it, and then let the rest bubble out. And let the calling function deal with it. I prefer enumerated types of booleans. Here's one reason why. Here's 2 lines of code. The second one is much clearer. It's the same signature. You can put a whole bunch of enumerated types together with bitwise operations and have the same signature. Comments. So everyone should comment their code as they go. They should, at the point where they're writing it, they know what that code is supposed to do. They should put in comments in the code. They should put in examples on how the method or class works. Think of that programmer who's looking at the code 10 years down the road. Properties should be simple, inexpensive, and order independent, all 3. If they're not, consider using a method. I see this all the time. A property is just a public interface to a private field. It shouldn't be anything else. Constructor. When you create an object, it should be valid and usable right at that moment. You should use nested constructors and base constructors to reuse code wherever possible. Strings. There's a lot of unnecessary string construction goes on. There's 3 examples: concatenation and comparisons, where we create a lot of extra strings. If you know this when you write the code, you can save yourself a lot of time. Equality. When you override the equals method, you should also implement the operator equals equals and the operator not equal class. You should use object equals always for object identity, because equals methods are often value identity. Avoid break and continue. Have a single return at the end of each method to make sure the class is clear. Never use goto. Very bad. Packaging. Your class name should always match with the file names exactly. This makes everything clear. Ditto for namespaces and assemblies. Choose your namespaces carefully. You should have a bunch of related objects inside your namespace and few dependencies outside of the namespace. Don't over-engineer as you go. Get it to work. Write nice code, but at the end, go back and optimize it. You'll find that you only have to look at a small percentage of the code to find most of the efficiency gains.
Thank you.